I'm Dr. Kimberlee Mendoza, and this is Blue Fire Faith, and this is another episode. Today we're going to talk about being thankful in the detour. Detours are not fun. I don't know if you've ever been in a car and you're traveling down the road and you see that little detour sign. They've had this one road blocked off here in our area forever. And the sad thing is it's straight off of where I live, so I could just go straight down that road and get to where I'm going. But because of that, I have to go all the way around. Of course, my whole entire city is like 5 minutes, so it's not really that, first world problem. Anyways, detours are not fun. We don't like them. They definitely slow us down. And if you're like me, I'm type A, let's go. I don't have time for no detour. But sometimes God needs us to go through a detour for our own good. Genesis 50:20, this is, when Joseph, who got stuck in Egypt because his brothers, I don't know if you know the whole story about Joseph, hopefully you do. I'll just give a quick summation, is that his brothers didn't like him. They put him in a pit, sold him to some people in Egypt. He goes down to Egypt. He's really well received there. He becomes like a big man in the house where he's, right underneath Pharaoh. But then Pharaoh's wife decides she has a crush on him and so tries to get him to sleep with her. But he's a godly man, so he says, no, I'm not going to do that. And so she goes and tells a lie to her husband that he tried to assault her. And so then Joseph ends up into prison where he sits for many, many, many years and asks, for these different people to remember him as they come out of prison, and they don't for a long time. Finally, he's remembered. He's brought out, and he becomes second in command to the Pharaoh. And because of Joseph, Egypt ends up having a bounty of I want to say vegetables so bad. I'm so sorry. He has a bounty of food stored up because Joseph understood dreams, and he knew what the dream meant. Dream meant. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm gonna keep going. I'm not gonna start over. But anyways, so he's able to save all these people, and so when his brothers come to Egypt to get food, they're really scared when they find out who he finally is. But Joseph says these words. That's where we were going with this. Genesis 50:20. You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good, to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives. And then there's another scripture in 45 where Joseph says, so then it was not you who sent me here, but God. And so sometimes, God allows things to happen or uses people that he knows will do a certain thing to pivot us in a way that he wants us to go. Detours are very frustrating, but I always tell people, and I know I've said this before, maybe even on this video, that God is in the helicopter, we're in the car. When you're in the car and you're coming up on a detour, all you see are signs that are blocking your way. You don't really see what's beyond the detour typically. And we can do one or two things. We can ignore the fact that the helicopter is telling us you need to go around the detour, or we can plow through it and end up in a pit and be stuck. And so, we have to listen to God. He sees the bigger bird's eye view, and our view is a worm's eye view. It's very small and limited. And so we have to trust the detour. Now, here's another story that I may or may not have shared with you. I apologize if I've already shared it. I just can't even remember anymore. But I'm using my book as a template to what I'm going to speak about every day. And this is the story for today. So hopefully, by the way, if you want to get the book, it is called Toward Faith. And it is a 40-day faith challenge. My son keeps telling me I need to plug that more. I don't like doing that, so I don't do it very often. Anyway, so here's the story, and if I've already told it, I guess you can shut this off. However, if you'll stay with me till the end, I will close this out here. But my biggest detour is pretty amazing. It's a pretty powerful story. So I went in the Army when I was 17 and a half years old, and I trained with a Marine before I went in. I was in shape. I was ready to go. When I got to basic training, they won't let you go into actual basic training until you do one man's push-up. Well, I had trained with the Marine, so this was not going to be a problem for me. I got on the table And the lady goes, lower, you got to go lower. And so I push out another one and I push out another one. She keeps going, lower, lower, you got to go lower. And I'm 120 pounds, 5'8". I am skinny bone girl, and I can only punch out so many of these before I'm dying. And I finally hit the table, and she's all, Fitco. And Fitco is 8 hours of PE a day. It's not fun. They'll drop you for anything. Oh, you looked at me wrong. Stop, drop and give me 20 push-ups or whatever. And so it's going to be 2 weeks long that I was going to have to do 8 hours of PE a day. And I was really frustrated because all the people I had flown out from San Diego with were off to basic training, and now I don't have my friends anymore. I am now stuck in this thing I don't like. And I was pretty mad at God at the moment. I was just like, you bring me all the way out here, and this is what you do. And so I get through it. I'm punching out 50 push-ups, by the way, by the time this thing is over. Man's push-ups, mind you. And so I'm fine. I go on to basic training. I'm 2 weeks behind. So I get to my permanent AIT station. So like I was going to be a chaplain assistant. So I went to Fort Monmouth, New Jersey to be a chaplain assistant. When I get there, I'm 2 weeks late. So they tell me I can't start class right away. I'm like, of course, 2 weeks late because of the dumb push-up. Well, that entire class went to Afghan during the Afghani war. I don't know if you remember that in the early 90s. That whole class got shipped out to Afghanistan. And so I didn't go. I went to the next class behind them. That whole class did not go anywhere. I get to my permanent station in Arizona, and I'm 2 weeks late. And the another person had come in before me, and because he was there sooner than I was, they were like, well, let's go ahead and put him in Signal, which is a company there, and we'll put the other girl that's coming in into Garrison. Garrison does not go to war, hardly ever. Signal, however, was the first, and this guy that took my place, because he got there before me, he was the first one to ship out in our base to Desert Storm. So a push-up saved me from 2 wars. Not 1, but 2. Huge detour that probably could have saved my life. And so it's one of those things that often it's very frustrating in the moment. It doesn't make sense. It's us sitting in the car at the signs, looking at all the flags and those orange cones that we hate so much, right? And we're like, ah! And yet, God is in the helicopter and we're in the car, and we just have to trust that He is taking us the long way around for a reason. You heard on 9/11 that a lot of people that morning were running late or something happened, their car broke down. You hear a ton of stories like that. Now, obviously still thousands were killed, but there were hundreds that weren't because of whatever detour they had that day. And so, I have a quote. It says, I may not be where I want to be, but thank God I'm not where I used to be. That's by Joyce Meyer, whether you like her or don't like her. I just thought that was a cool quote. And I just think that we have to trust that God is definitely in control, taking care of us, and we just need to trust even the detours. So that's it for me today. God bless you. You have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye-bye.